Today we're making a drawstring shoulder bag with detachable scrunchie style straps. I've made this side in the same color with silver hardwares. You can also use it as a pouch or use it reversed. This project is great for using up leftover fabric, as it's just one rectangle for the outside of the bag and another for the inside. All the little pieces, the scrappy pieces, we can use them to make the drawstring and the handles. This bag is 24 by 27 centimeters. If you want to make one in another size, you just need 3 measurements. That is the finish width, finish length, and the height of the drawstring slot. You can use this formula to calculate the rectangle pattern piece. So the height of my drawstring slot is 2.5 centimeters, and I use a seam allowance of 1 centimeter. So my pattern piece is 26 by 61 centimeters. Once you cut the pattern from the main fabric and one from the lining fabric, we will start to prepare the bag's opening for the drawstring slot. I marked 6 centimeters from the bag's opening. If you're using a different size slot, you just double the height of the drawstring slot and add in your seam allowance. I'm going to sew this area with a 1 centimeter seam allowance. Here I zigzagged around the area that I've just sewn, and I snipped off the corners and make a notch right where the stitches end. This will prevent bunching up of the fabric when we sew the bag's body, and we will repeat this on the other end. I'm going to cover up some webbing, so wrap the fabric around the webbing. There should be a 1 centimeter excess for the seam allowance. Sew this into a tube, flip it out, and thread the webbing inside. Slip the ring in and sew it in place. The length of this strap is about 5 centimeters each. So I make a pair with the outer fabric and another pair with the lining fabric. We got our webbing straps done. Now we will sew up the sides. Pull the fabric apart and pin it using the notch as a guide. You see that both the drawstring flaps are pointing away from the outer bag. You can sew the webbing along with the bag side. Just pin it 1 centimeter from the notch with the hardware on the inside of the bag. I sew it this way, and I find that the webbing tends to shift position, maybe because the fabric is slippery. Another way to do this is to sew the bag side, leaving a hole for your webbing. Then you can slot the webbing inside, and it won't shift when you sew on it. So we will repeat this on the lining side. I sew the webbing slot for the lining a bit lower so that it won't be too bulky when we flip the bag. We will leave a hole on one of the sides to flip the bag. Try to match the sewing line on the drawstring with the sides of the bag. I'm going to sew the sides of the drawstring slot, so I pin it so that only the main fabric shows. Next, we will fold the drawstring slot into the bag, pin it in place, and sew to create the drawstring slot. For the drawstring, we will wrap this string with leftover fabric. The length of the drawstring is twice the width of the bag, plus about 10 centimeters so that we can tie the knot. If the fabric is not long enough, you just put the new piece under and continue wrapping and sewing it in place. So now I'm going to thread the drawstring into the bag, and you see that it goes in this way and it comes out the same side. And the next drawstring, we will do it on the other side of the bag. For the scrunchie strap, we need a length of about 3 times the webbing length. You can join the rectangles if you do not have enough length, and you will not see the joints because it will be scrunched up. So just make sure that they are all the same width, and the width is calculated. The width is calculated by just wrapping around the webbing, and it should have 1 centimeter excess on the sides. When we sew this tube, we will match the sides and sew it down with a 1 centimeter seam allowance. Flipping the tube is actually the most time-consuming step because it is so long. So I sew up one of the ends and I poke a chopstick into it to flip it. Add a clip to keep the ends in place so that it doesn't get pulled into the tube, and you have to do this all over again. Once you got the tube onto the webbing, release one of the tube and wrap the tube nicely over the webbing. You can slide the excess away from the ends and sew on the back clip thingy. The last step is to close the hole in the lining. Since this is a reversible bag, I chose to hand sew the opening close with the ladder stitch. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and have fun sewing this bag, and see you next time. Bye bye!